Hello everyone, it's me Clayton. I just finished watching the new Netflix musical The Prom, based on the Broadway show of the same name and directed by Ryan Murphy, the same man who happened to produce a lot of Glee. So he was obviously a good director choice for this series, for this film. And when it comes down to it, it gives us the adaptation of what you'd expect from the guy who gave us Glee. A very glitzy, glamorous, and well-sung version of the Broadway musical that does have a few issues here and there when it comes to certain characters. But I'll get to that when I get to that. So what's the story about? Well, the story is about Dee Dee and Barry, played by Meryl Streep and James Corden, who happen to join some other down-on-their-luck Broadway stars, Andrew Rannells and Nicole Kidman, when they all happen to get some really bad press from their individual Broadway shows, and they need something that they can use to get themselves back to their credibility when the critics have torn them down. And thankfully, one of them happens to find out that a young girl named Emma happens to have been discriminated from her prom and is not allowed to bring her girlfriend Alyssa to the prom, despite some support from the high school principal, played by Keegan-Michael Key, due to her girlfriend's mother, played by Kerry Washington, being the head of the PTA and not allowing an inclusive prom at all. So these Broadway stars decide to essentially pretend to be progressive people and decide to help Emma with their own little way of going through a show, while also learning that maybe they shouldn't be such narcissists after all and actually put others' beliefs and put others' safety and happiness before their own. So yeah, this is definitely one of those musicals where our main characters start out as extremely unlikable and, in many respects, the worst kind of celebrities, but their character development shines throughout the film and it gets us to like them. That definitely does work, especially when it comes to the rather impressive amount of actors that they put together for this film. Meryl Streep, James Corden, Nicole Kidman, Andrew Rannells, Kerry Washington, Keegan-Michael Key, and even more. And it's a very, not only Oscar-worthy cast, but all of them do happen to portray their roles rather well. Meryl Streep, in my opinion, has always had a good singing voice, ever since Into the Woods, not so much with Mamma Mia, but she definitely does bring her Into the Woods quality when it comes to her singing here. And James Corden, even though I consider him to be a man who's had his career based on cringe, doesn't do that bad here, even when he has to play a character who might fall into stereotypical gay traits. And his singing does happen to be pretty good to listen to. But my favorite of the bunch has to be Andrew Rannells, who, if you believe it, this is the same man who ended up playing Elder Price in The Book of Mormon, one of my favorite musicals of all time, and let's just say he brings that same level of energy to his musical numbers, specifically Love Thy Neighbor, which is probably one of my favorite songs of the film. And speaking of songs, those happen to be another positive point, since a lot of them are very catchy, well-produced, and almost all the musical numbers feel like well-shot music videos, which really does, for the musical sections, those are great. Though for the dialogue scenes, a lot of the film is more of just a very standard adaptation of a Broadway show when the songs are not playing. It's not saying that the film's only exciting when there are musical numbers in there. It's just that the film's only competent otherwise, and you're probably going to be thinking, when's the next song coming up when it comes to a lower point in the plot? Another problem with the film is definitely that Emma and Alyssa, despite having the film be about them, seem to essentially get less focus than they should. I heard they get even less than they got in the original Broadway play. Yes, I understand the big lead actors are the ones who are practically selling the film through name recognition, but the two young actors who get to play Emma and Alyssa are very likable, and I wish they would have gotten more to do in the film, or at least had some of their lyrics that were cut out of the songs in this film put back in. But, for what it's worth, the two actresses who play these characters are really good, and the one who plays Emma, I heard, was one who's just starting out, and I'm sure she'll get a lot of good roles from this, considering she's very very likable here, and her and Alyssa make a very cute couple. Plus, the film's 2 hours do really fly by when it comes to how many musical numbers there are and how well choreographed and how catchy they are. So while The Prom definitely isn't a perfect stage musical adaptation, I definitely think it's better than, say, Cats from 2019. If that one was a catastrophe, this one is at least a gentle reminder of what movie musicals can be. And that's why I'm going to give The Prom an 8 out of 10. See you next time.